Welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show with Nicholls head baseball coach Seth Thibodeaux. Presented by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance. Hello and welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show presented by State Farm Insurance. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. Coming up in today's program, we'll catch up with a few Nicholls legends. We'll also take to the track, the tennis courts, and the classroom on this week's Colonel Connection. Right now, we're joined by the head coach of the Colonel baseball team, Seth Thibodeaux. Been a rough week for you, partner. Time to bounce back.
That's right. There's no such thing as problems. There's opportunities, and we certainly have a golden opportunity in front of us. And a team coming in this weekend that we're excited to play, and it's going to be a good challenge for us, but we've had some time off to really work at some things and iron out some kinks, and we're excited about the opportunity.
Specifically, what have you been working on?
Well, we've been working on some things in the cages, trying to get our swings right, working on some things with our pitchers, trying to get our minds right, so to speak, and so I feel really good about it. With a lot of communication this week, going over the basics again, using it as a spring training week, trying to get some things ironed out, and it's been a good week for us.
Couple of weeks ago, you were a game out of second. Since then, you dropped 5 out of 6 in the South. And the bad news is right now, you're on the outside looking in. The good news is, as we've seen from this team throughout the year, you've got the capability to rise right back up.
Absolutely, we do. And we haven't played our best ball after 37, 38 games. We have an opportunity here to prove to ourselves that we can play our best ball down the stretch, which is very motivating to me because I've ever asked our guys, hey, let's play our best ball in May. And we're edging there now, so they're starting to feel a little bit, and they're understanding, and we need to get our confidence going a little bit and finish strong here.
Well, we're going to take a look at some recent activity. The Colonels entered the weekend last weekend tied with Central Arkansas in the Southland standings with matching 7-8 records. UCA was coming off a 10-game road trip while Nicholls was looking to bounce back from a tough week on the field. Let's take you to Bear Stadium in Conway, Arkansas for Game 1 of the series last Friday night. The Colonels ready to go against lefty Jeffrey Enlow. He escaped some trouble in the top of the first. Bottom 1, Jonathan Davis in scoring position. Forrest Allday among the national leaders in on-base percentage. Singles off of Seth Webster, scoring Davis. 1-0 Bears. Nicholls did throw all day out at second. Top of the third, Mike Barba on board for Jeremy Hill. This RBI double extends Hill's hit streak to a career-long 9 games. We're tied at 1 as Barba comes around, but that would be it as far as offense went for Nicholls. Bears back at bat. They created some havoc with the bunt. They collected 4 bunt base hits, including this number from Davis. Blake Bajeron's throw goes into right field. Blake Marshall scores on the only Nicholls error of the weekend. It's 2-1. Runners at the corners for Forrest Allday. Nice play by Webster. They get the force at second. Too late to double up Allday. Davis crosses to put the Bears up 2. Enlow putting the Colonel bats on ice. He fans Cody Dufran to end the fourth. Enlow set down 13 in a row. Bottom 4 after Davis singles homer run. The bases are loaded with only 1 out as Rudy Darrow discusses matters with Webster, but Ethan Harris makes his way to the plate and blows the game open. The sharp single drives in 2, including Craig Kelly and Marshall, to 6-1 ball game. Corey DeLange coming on to face Brian Wilson. The base hit the left, chasing in Davis and Harris. A 5-run 4th inning for Central Arkansas. Nicholls finally able to get out of the inning on an outstanding turn of 2. What a play by Austin Flores at short to take away a Travis Snyder hit. But UCA adds another 5 runs in the 5th, and it was more than enough for Enlow. He fans 7 in a complete game 2-hitter. The game was called after 7 innings as UCA takes the opener by a 13-1 margin. Coach, this was the first time the Colonels were run ruled this year, and this came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. And Seth didn't have his best. He was struggling a little bit to get his off-speed over, and they took advantage of the fastball and really, had put some really good at-bats together. They were a hot baseball team, and it seemed like everything seemed to bounce their way a little bit.
Their scouts taking a hard look at Seth Webster right now. Is that pressure maybe getting to him a little bit?
I don't think so. I think Seth puts the pressure that he puts is what he puts on himself, and because he's such a perfectionist, and when he doesn't have things, he gets a little frustrated. But I think he's going to be fine down the stretch.
What'd you say to your team after that ball game?
I told the guys that I loved them to death, and I couldn't wait to get back out with them the next day. And I told them it's part of the game, and sometimes things don't go your way, and how you handle those things say a lot about what you are as a person and as a club.
Did you love him to death after Saturday?
I still love him to death, but I didn't tell him that.
Game 2 of this set on Saturday, the Colonels would grab the early lead against righty Caleb McClanahan. You score 5 runs in the second, 3 hits to start the inning, and then a pair of bases loaded walk, a hit batsman. Matt Richard able to force in a run. Phillip Lyons does the same. You've got the lead early on here. What's your mindset at that point?
Well, we wanted to make sure we continue to put it on. We're on the road, and you know, you were facing a hot-hitting team. We wanted to make sure we continue to score, and we didn't do a very good job of that. But certainly, you know, we played great defense. We played great defense all weekend. We just, you know, these guys were hot as a whip, and everything they hit seemed to be squared up. But we wanted to make sure at that time that we try to continue to score. We weren't successful doing that.
We're going to pick up the action here in the bottom of this second. UCA gets 1 run on the board. Blake Roberts on second, and Blake Marshall pokes one past the feet of Shreve. One of his 2 RBI hits for Marshall. The lead is cut to 4. It remains that way until the top of the 5th. Matt Richard with a leadoff hit and stolen base, and Jeremy Hill brings him home. Jeremy with 3 of the Colonels' 12 hits. He went 6 for 12 on the weekend. McClanahan would give up a Michael LaGrange single, and he would get the hook. This would be a turning point in this ball game here. On comes right-hander Andy Steinmetz out of the bullpen, and he would lock the Colonel bats down. Nicholls was able to generate 1 more run. The first batter to face Steinmetz is Blake Bajeron. This ground out to first plates Hill. Nicholls up 7-1. Bajeron with 2 hits and an RBI in the contest. But Central Arkansas begins mounting a comeback in the 5th. With 2 on and 1 out, Brian Wilson grounds at Patrick Shreve, offering through the left side. Around comes Jonathan Davis. The lead is down to 5. Wilson drove in 5 runs in the series. The next batter coming up here, Travis Snyder, and he would stroke it to center field. Ethan Harris scoring from second base, and the hits really starting to pile up at this point. Garrett Brown would follow this up with a single to load the bases, and that would bring to the plate Logan Moon. And this hit here from Moon would chase Shreve from the ball game. A 2-run knock. Moon came off the bench in this one in the 4th into the DH spot. He delivered 3 hits. It's 7-5 Colonels entering the 6th. You still have the lead at this point, but Steinmetz really frustrating Nicholls. He retired the side in order in the 6th. Gets Mike Barba swinging here. Steinmetz fans 6 in just 4 2/3 innings. It's still 7-5 Nicholls at the stretch. Bottom 7 now. Donnie White working to Marshall with 2 men in scoring position. Austin Flores keeps it in the infield, but there's nothing you can do about that. The hit scores Brown, and the Nicholls lead is down to 1. Brad DeLotte summoned to face Davis, and he jerks one down the third baseline. Roberts scored the tying run. Davis went 5 for 6 with 2 doubles. The next man up is Harris, and with the infield pulled in, he uses the artificial turf to chop one over Phillip Lyons at second. Marshall and Davis score. It's 9-7 Bears. They scored 7 runs in the 7th to make it 12-7. Just a disastrous inning for Nicholls. Colonels load him up in the 8th, but Steinmetz gets pinch hitter Adam Seal swinging for out number 2. Full count to Barba here. He thought it was outside, but he's rung up. Nicholls stranded 5 in the final 2 innings and fall by a 12-7 decision. 18 hits for the Bears, a season high allowed by the Colonels on Saturday. This one was in your hands. Credit Andy Steinmetz, though. He came in and completely turned that game around.
He absolutely did. He got some big time outs in some big situations, and he pitched it well. He had a couple pitches going his way, you know, throwing that slider and then dropping arm slots. He had a lot of success against our hitters, and you know, we started out hot and we didn't finish that way, but we're certainly looking for Sunday to try to get some things going.
You want to talk about a home field advantage. Literally, it was a home field advantage for Central Arkansas. They know how to use that new artificial turf. They laid down some outstanding bunts. They chopped some balls over the infield when you had the infield drawn in. Really did a great job of using that facility to their advantage.
You're right. They know how to use their field, and I credit them for it. They had some tremendous bunts. They put some pressure on us that way. Some bunts that we could just not defend. There's just no defense for some of them, and you know, they chopped some balls in when we had. They just know how to use their park, and I credit them. That's a well-coached team and a good baseball team for being able to do that.
Jonathan Davis, just a thorn in your side all weekend.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Davis has been, and you know, he was hitting
good player.
Very good baseball player, and for, you know, he's an All-American for a reason, but you know, he's hitting 300 coming into the series, and then all of a sudden he's hitting 365 after the weekend. So he had his weekend going for him, and I tip my hat to him. He played his tail off for sure.
Going into Sunday's finale, you continue to tinker with your lineup, still trying to find that right combination. And part of that, you know, you got some injuries right now that you're trying to work around, but still, you're still looking 1 through 9 to really solidify yourself in these final few weeks here.
Right. I just want to make sure that we have our table setters and we have RBI guys, and we're trying to find that right click in there and try to get a couple of guys going too. Maybe sit a guy and let him sit for a game and try to get him going that next day. Sometimes that works as well. So, and I'm not one to change the lineup a whole lot. But when we need to get a couple things going offensively, I'm certainly going to try it, and we certainly did some things, and we're successful in some ways we were not. But the ultimate goal is to win the baseball game, where we didn't get that done. So we'll certainly try to get that done this week.
There's one final chance for the Colonels on Sunday. They would draw UCA right-hander Ryan Angus. Unfortunately, he didn't give up much at all. Barba led off the ball game with a hit, but the Colonels were unable to score him as Bergeron flies out here to end the frame. After that initial hit by Barba, Enlow retired 17 straight. Now, Colonel Southpaw Mike Wisecarver took the hill. He was no slouch himself. This was just a terrific pitcher's duel here through the first 5 or 6 innings. Mike yielded 2 hits in the first, but he set down 10 straight after that. Garrett Brown fooled badly in the second. That was Wisecarver's only strikeout, but he only issued 1 walk. Enlow looking to answer. He struck out 8, fanning Barba here in the third. These guys were going pitch for pitch. Now, the Colonel defense really stepped up. How about this sequence in the fourth here? The leadoff man is Harris, a bouncer to the right of the mound. Wisecarver runs it down and barehands it 1 away. And then it's all day here, trying to drag for a base hit. Bo Falk answers the call, laying out and beating all day to the bag for the second out. Now Brian Wilson, the next man at the plate. Wisecarver gets him to pop up with a 25-mile-per-hour wind swirling. Falk makes the tumbling catch and foul grab. Just outstanding defense there from the Colonels, and he really played well defensively all weekend long. The Bears, though, would step it up too. Cody Dufran leading off the 6th. Harris racing it down in the gap. Flies through the air for the putout, and we're still scoreless at this point. Not after this, though. Davis with a 1-out double in the 6th before Harris bounces one over Bergeron. The triple easily scores Davis, and Central Arkansas is on the board first. Harris drove in 7 runs on the weekend. It's still 1-0 in the 7th. UCA puts 2 on with 1 out. Coach Tibb makes his way to the mound, and going to his bullpen here, it's Mike Sook coming on to face Logan Moon. Wisecarver allowed 6 hits and 6 1/3. Moon, though, comes up with a big knock through the left side, plating Wilson 2-0 Central Arkansas heading into the 8th. The throw just a little bit late here. Now Nicholls with the shot to get back in it. 1st and 3rd with 1 out, but Mike Barba induced into the double play grounder here. Tough one to swallow for Barba on a bang-bang play at first. UCA would take advantage. They pull away in the 8th. 2 on for Harris facing Brad DeLotte, and the gapper just out of the reach of Matt Richard. Marshall and Davis come around. A sac fly later in the inning by Wilson would make it 5-0. Nicholls puts a man on in the 9th here. Michael LaGrange at the plate, and the fielder's choice forces Bergeron to end the ball game. The Colonels are blanked for just the 2nd time this season and are swept for the very first time in 2012. Bears 5, Colonels nothing. Angus with a 6-hit shutout. You did some terrific things defensively in this series. The bats came alive Saturday, held in check Friday and Sunday. We're still looking for that weekend where all 3 phases really come into play.
Absolutely, and it is a little frustrating, but our guys are fighting, and that's all I'm worried about. And we do have some injuries into some key spots, but we're going to get where we want to be. And I'm very confident that we have a mature club. We have some guys that have been there before. And we've been in this situation before. We have a lot of things right there in front of us that we can accomplish. A lot of goals are still out there. So we want to put ourselves in a situation to be in the postseason and be able to have a chance to win a championship. That's the goal.
Looks like 2 guys really stepping up. We expected Jeremy Hill, and he's among them now on an 11-game hitting streak and just getting it done game in and game out. And Cody Dufran has been forced really into the starting catcher's role with the injuries. Devin Weibel, Chase Garrett out for the season, we learned yesterday as well. He's doing a much better job controlling base runners, and he's thrown out a few over the weekend.
He's done a tremendous job. He's doing a great job behind the plate. He's actually starting to swing it well. The more he's been able to play, the better he's gotten. But he knows in the back of his mind that he has to get it done for us. He has to be a leader in that aspect, and he's done a tremendous job, like you said, of controlling the running game.
The Colonels had their game against Alcorn State on Tuesday washed away. That will be made up on Wednesday, May the 2nd. On deck here on the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance, we're back on the field with some familiar Colonel stars. We're back in 60 seconds.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Thibodeaux, call Doug Robichaux. And in Luling, call Keith Davis.
Get to a better state.
Nicholls baseball has both an understated and underrated history. This proud program has continuously produced major league talent. Just as importantly, those Colonels who were able to take advantage of their time in Thibodeaux are now giving back to the community that gave so much to them. Alumni Jerry Sanders is a former coach and shortstop for the Colonels. After mentoring for 30 years in basketball and baseball, Sanders pursued a different path away from sports that has him helping more people in the community.
I'm at the Louisiana Rehabilitation Services office here in Thibodeaux on Tiger Drive. And basically what I do is I'm the employment specialist. We cover 3 parishes. We cover Assumption, Lafourche, and Terrebonne Parish. And what I do is we take our clients and we try to find a job that matches their ability. Some have a lot of ability, some don't have a lot of ability. And we try to find them jobs. And my job is, as the employment specialist, is to go out and talk to all the local people in the 3 parish areas, see if they need people to contact me.
Though Jerry is no longer coaching, his son, Scott Sanders, follows in his father's footsteps. After starring at Nicholls and pitching in the major leagues for 7 years, Scott Sanders' passion for the game is kept alive through a facility he runs in Thibodeaux.
I do have a baseball academy here in town. We train kids pretty much year-round. It's I have a Matt Trammell who he coached college baseball for 14 years, runs it. He has got a lot of good young kids that I train coming up. Honestly, through my academy, who work for us, and it's really a wonderful thing for the kids in the community. You know, it's one thing when we moved back, my wife and I said we want to try to build a facility to give back to the community, because baseball was so wonderful to my life, and softball was a big inspiration in her life as well. And it's a wonderful thing. You know, it's kids from 4, 5, 6 years old all the way up to high school coming and train. Nicholls guys going there sometime and work out, and it's just a wonderful thing for the community, and we really enjoy doing it.
As Scott gives back with his training ground, he is also looking forward to sharing in his father's legendary status. Scott has been nominated to be inducted into the Nicholls Hall of Fame, possibly making the Sanders the first father and son to do so.
It'd be something special. It's something I always hope would happen, you know, honestly, mainly because my father was my hero growing up. He was my role model, and to be in the same Hall of Fame would be a big honor. Plus, my wife's in the Long Beach State Hall of Fame for softball, so she always throws that in my face jokingly, but it would be very nice. It'd be a huge, wonderful honor.
Scott's college teammate Mike Moeller also advanced to the big leagues, pitching for 5 clubs over a 10-year career. After retiring in 2001, Moeller wanted to give back to the people who had supported him throughout his journey.
I always wanted to give back. I felt like the people of this community supported me every step of the way. You know, I was the first one from my high school, still the only one, I think, that made it to the major leagues. And whatever I can do to give back, to this community. I speak at engagements. I give private pitching lessons over here at Kyle Swears Baseball Academy, and he's an ex-ball player. He went, I think he went to ULM, but he also got drafted by the Mets, so he's got some minor league experience, and he does wonders over here with the kids. And just being a part of this, just helping out the guys, trying to get them, maybe a little bit better each step of the way, and who knows, somebody might make it.
As these players maintain their connections to the game and the region, they are sure to stay up to date with Colonel Baseball as the program progresses.
I tell you what, Seth Webster, obviously he's been something special, I tell you, Patrick Shreve, Wise Carver on the weekends, they're giving us a chance to win every weekend. We have lost some tough games, and I know I talk to Seth every weekend. He says, man, we gave this one away, we gave that one away, which is a good thing because years ago they used to go out and get beat. Now they're going out every weekend. They have a chance to win Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesdays, whenever you go. I mean, they got Sook pitches on Tuesday nights for him, went out the other day through a shutout. Our pitching staff is getting deeper and deeper. Our bullpen's wonderful with Donnie White and Brad DeLotte closing out the back end of it. We got it's a really wonderful pitching staff and a very deep pitching staff, which we haven't had probably in the past 10 years.
When you get the alumni involved, that can only be beneficial for you. And he's doing that. It is time consuming, and he's got his on-field issues, schoolwork, off-field issues, things that he needs to take care of. But reaching out to the alumni and people that are going to support you is, it's going to be great.
Well, I think the baseball team has really improved this year. I think the one thing that's going to really help them, I think they've got a lot of pitching. And I know in a conference tournament last year, I think it was we got to play Texas State, who had to beat us twice, and they had the pitching to beat us twice. But I think our players are ready to go back to the conference tournament again this year. I really do.
For these alumni, their dedication to baseball and to the region is unquestioned as they continue their support for the community and the Colonels year-round. For the Seth Thibodeaux Show, I'm Ashley Bull.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Coming up next on the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance, our student athletes are getting it done in the classroom on the Colonel Connection. We'll also talk more with Coach Tibb. Stay with us.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Lockport, call Ashley Barrios. And in Homa, call Travis Gravois.
Get to a better state.
The Nicholls track and field team were able to keep their gold medal streak alive, while student athletes were honored for their achievements in the classroom. That and more is coming up on this week's Colonel Connection. The Nicholls track and field squad participated in the Mississippi Open at Ole Miss last Saturday. Many of the Colonels beat their own personal best times. Freshman Chriselle Rowe bettered her own school record time in the 400-meter hurdles. The team has placed first in at least one event in every meet the ladies have competed in this year, and junior javelin thrower Jamie Springer kept their gold medal streak alive. Springer attributes her success at the Open to the field playing to her strengths.
It's a really nice track, the way it's set up. It's got a Mondo surface, so it's really good to work with my speed and my crossover technique. So it's just good when it all comes together like that, because once you get your technique down and your speed, it's amazing how far you can throw that javelin.
The track and field athletes continue their season at the Southeastern Invitational in Hammond tomorrow. The women's tennis team responded to a 6-1 loss at Texas State back on April 6th by going on a 3-match winning streak. The Colonels have claimed victories over Alcorn, Southern, and Central Arkansas. After those wins, the squad saw their postseason hopes snapped with a loss to Northwestern State last Sunday, with Persia Malou scoring the lone point for the Colonels. Nicholls hosted its inaugural academic gala last Monday. The event honored all of the student athletes that achieved a 3.0 grade point average or higher in their classes this year. Senior Women's Administrator Doobie Plaisance helped spearhead the event. She created the event in order to provide a showcase to honor Nicholls' many worthy student athletes to the entire university community. Plaisance wanted to give the athletes a chance to be more up close and personal with the Nicholls faculty while celebrating the academic achievements. Junior basketball player Bryson Triggs was honored to have the opportunity to reap some of the benefits of his hard work.
It's hard, but I mean, we have study hall, and when we're on the road on the bus, I'm studying, and most of my free time when we're not on the court, that's when most of I study. If you work hard, like good things will happen, and you'll be able to, it'll pay off in the long run.
Plaisance's desire to emphasize the student part of student athlete engineered the success of the first academic gala.
I was excited about it. The turnout was great. Unfortunately, the only night that we had available softball was playing out of town. And so they were the only ones, less two athletes that were in class. We were very proud of them. They went to class, that were unable to attend. So the turnout was super. We had close between honorees and parents, close to 200 people there.
There were more than 90 student athletes that participated in the medal presentation. Among them, 8 scored a perfect 4.0 GPA during the 2011 calendar year. For the Seth Thibodeaux Show, I'm Philip Boudreau.
Thank you very much, Philip. Back here with you on the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance. Coach Tim, great job by really all of our student athletes in the classroom.
Absolutely. We are very fortunate here at Nicholls to have, all of the resources that we have for our student athletes to be successful. And you see it each year, every sport. The amount of 3.0 plus student athletes that we have and the graduation rates that continue to go up, I think it's a tribute to our administration, Dr. Hulbert, Dr. Boudreau, and obviously Rob Bernardi, for all the efforts and energy that they're putting into it, and people like Erica Calais who work so hard, for our athletes to be successful in the classroom. You can't come to this school and not be successful in the classroom.
Well, back on the field, you've got Lamar coming up this weekend. The Cardinals right now sitting at the bottom of the South End. They're ripe for the pickings, but they've had a long, proud tradition there. They're not going to roll over either. You got to get back up in the standings. Though.
Yes, Lamar is going to be just a typical Southland team, but they've gone over to Rice and won a couple of games. They're going to Baylor and won a game. So these guys can beat you at any point, and they're going to be able to pitch. They have a couple guys. They were injured as well on the mound. All throughout the season, but now this weekend they'll have a couple of guys back that they haven't had. So they're going to pitch it well, and it's going to be an intense weekend because they want to get their track righted and we want to get our track righted. So it's going to be an intense weekend, and we've got to play some good baseball. We have to put it together like we've talked about before. Let's play defense, let's pitch, and let's score some runs, and let's see how good the Colonels can be.
Friday at 6:30, Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 1. Those are the game times. Sunday, 1 o'clock is our Military Appreciation Day. Going to be wearing our special camouflage jerseys, which you can see behind us here, and they'll be auctioned off during the game, a silent auction during the contest to raise some funds as well. This is going to be a good day at the ballpark.
It's going to be a great day, and it's something we hope to do every year, and obviously I appreciate your help with this. We're going to have a wounded warrior out from South Louisiana, so it's exciting. I want my players to experience that. I think it's going to be neat, and I think it's going to be neat for all of our supporters and fans and the school. I think it's going to be an exciting day, and we'll make it bigger and better each and every year.
Again, the Colonels taking on Lamar this weekend in a 3-game set. What do you expect here from the Cardinals?
Well, I expect them to come in and pitch it pretty good. I really feel like they'll be able to pitch it, and I feel like that they're going to try to manufacture some runs. They're hitting about 230 as a club, and so we just want to play our game. I'm more concerned with the Colonels than I am with the Cardinals, I promise you.
All right, Coach. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mike.
Appreciate it. That's going to do it for the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance. Thank you so much for joining us. For the entire crew, including Ashley Bull, Philip Boudreau, and, of course, Coach Tibb, I'm Mike Wagenheim. We'll talk to you again next week. The Seth Thibodeaux Show has been brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.